We're talking about Moon Knight, MCU title number 33. Here again, whenever I say MCU title number 33, once again, need to make some clarifications on this number system I'm using. These are Marvel Studios produced titles. They do not include the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s run, the Netflix shows that are not on Disney+. These are the main storyline MCU produced titles. I was keeping track before. Maybe we'll stop eventually, but I feel like since I started, I just want to keep going. We're talking about Moon Knight, starring Oscar Isaac. 6 episodes are out there on Disney+. We're using IMDb. We're actually giving it the trial for IMDb Pro. Anybody here an IMDb Pro user?
Whoa, I don't even know what that is.
It's an Amazon company now. First of all, you can get your subscription through Amazon, and you get access to all of it. I finally got fed up with looking for box offices, looking for dates, not finding specific information. This is up to date, to the minute. Everything you want to know. So we're going to give it a shot. We'll see if it works out. Last time we talked about Moon Knight. Full spoiler alert for the show because we're diving right into the storyline. And here in just a minute, on April 19th, it was at 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.7 on IMDb, 92% on Google users, and liked it. And that's looking about the same here. This was 3 days ago. So we're still hovering at the 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Scotty Scoop, you agree with that?
Absolutely.
You loved it. This is one of your shows. 6 episodes. I want to get right into the story.
Shirt.
This is kind of how I want to do this. I kind of want to just set up very quickly, getting us right into the finale and doing just a wrap up of what happened in this show. So I'm going to do my best to give a kind of recap. Spoiler alert. I mean, this is it, right? You meet Stephen Walden. I'm sorry.
It's his fourth personality.
He's right here, right? Stephen Grant.
It's way less impressive than the other 3.
Yeah, he's like, what's he do?
I'm a fucking artist that lives in St. Louis. This sucks.
Why am I waking up in the desert with my paintbrush?
Where did my hair go? Why is it on my face?
His personality loses his hair. Stephen Grant is who we meet. This guy is getting his life turned upside down by a multi-personality. He meets Mark Spector, who's another personality inside of him, who's teamed up with this god called Khonshu, an Egyptian god who gives him his powers to become Moon Knight. Throughout this show, you will see these two characters going back and forth, never knowing who they are, really where they are, what happened the night before, how many days has gone by. Lots of confusion. You got Ethan Hawke in here playing
Arthur
Harrow. He's in here doing a great job. Oscar Isaac showing up. Got the cast actually right here, so we can see just the other. I want to see who plays this girl. She's great. May Kalmaway?
Sounds good to me.
Kalmaway. She plays Layla, does a absolutely fantastic job. And on the screen share right now, you can see these episode titles, and I want to go right into this finale. You pick up this finale, man. Let's just get right into it. Scotty, it's probably been a couple weeks since you've seen this.
Yeah, I think I watched it last week.
Andy, when's the last time you saw it?
The finale was a week ago.
Yeah, 1 week ago. And Steven, you just played catch up as well with me, I think.
I did. I watched the last 2 episodes. And yeah, the second to last episode, as it tends to be in Marvel, that's often the best one.
Yeah, the penultimate
because that's the
episode,
that's the one where they decode a lot of the shit that we don't understand.
Yes.
So,
which we really needed
yes.
after episode 4. Because episode 4 really left you in the weeds.
And go ahead and jump in, because we came in episode 1 through 3, jumping in on episode 4. I mean, Scotty, you want to talk about this episode a little bit and take us through right up until the point where, let's just say it, I mean, Mark Spector and Steven get shot.
Yeah, there was some exposition. They went to the tomb. There was some revelation about how Mark may have been partly responsible for Layla's father's death.
Yep, they keep teasing that out.
They find what Stephen says is the tomb of Alexander the Great.
Yep,
who they believe was it was Amet.
Yep.
Well, what do they call him?
One of the main gods.
Well,
He's one of the big ones.
Avatar.
He
was an avatar of Amet.
Yes. Okay.
And
they're on the hunt
he was
for Khonshu.
They were looking for Amet's figure.
Okay.
To try and keep Amet from coming back
to life.
And he says he finds it, reaches down into the mummy's gullet.
Yes, right into his mouth.
Yeah. Pulls it out, and that's about when Layla shows back up, confronts him about maybe being responsible for her father's death.
Yep.
Brings Mark forward.
Yep. It's time. Finally, Steven gives up the reins because he's like, okay, I'm not going to have this discussion about killing your dad. I had nothing to do with that.
Right. And then there's some battle back and forth, and Arthur shows up and just puts 2 in his chest.
Puts 2 like if this is the end of the episode, point blank, bang bang, goes in,
falls backward in the water, and you can see that shot where he's just sinking into oblivion. And you're like, what the hell?
That's the end, right?
That's the end.
Episode 5.
Yeah.
The afterlife.
The afterlife.
They are going down Egyptian afterlife in this show. What happens when you die? Well, I'll tell you what happens. First of all, you get kind of put into whatever form of limbo is good for you. And I guess for these two, because they're crazy, they end up in like an insane asylum and meet a talking, standing upright hippopotamus.
Yeah.
Favorite character in the show.
Yeah.
Anybody know the name?
Tawadet.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Tawadet.
Tawatet.
Tawadet. It's Tawaret.
That's
I
right.
believe.
Tawadet.
But the R is duh. It's a hard R. Tawadet.
And she weighs the scales.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
That's
the,
her
I
job
guess
to
the,
weigh
the
your scales.
farrier into the afterlife.
And what's the ferry in this situation? A big giant ship cruising the sands, and it's either going to dump you off into the sands, that's basically hell, or it's going to take you off to heaven. And before you can do that, first of all, we kind of learned some things, right? I mean, Mark and Steven are there together.
Yeah.
And she's confused. She's like, why are there 2 of you in like heaven? Like, are you guys
Right.
twins?
Yeah.
And he's like, kind of, not really. Okay, doesn't really matter. Let's put your hearts on the scale, weigh these things. These things are mad out of balance.
Oh, yeah.
You have some unresolved stuff in your life. Go search all your memories in the form of hallways and rooms and tell us what happened. This is where we get the tell-all of everything, just like Steven said.
We get
classic second to last Marvel episode.
The real story on who is the character.
Because they kind of lied to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure. We were introduced to this entire show through the eyes of Steven.
Yes, and Steven's like the person.
Yeah, and we're like, we love Steven. Steven's the main man. Here we go.
Turns out,
in
a flashback, we meet a mother who talks to a young boy who is, you think, Steven, until she says, Mark. And that's it. This is all you need to know, right? Mark is the kid. He's the person. He's the one that's been around. And Steven only came to be as a defense mechanism for the trauma in his life where his mom blamed him for his brother drowning in a cave. This is essentially one of the most tragic origin stories of any Marvel character. Young Mark Spector loses his brother. His mom not only is just distraught from then on out, ruined essentially, but blames him, verbally abuses him, and physically.
Yes.
And it's during the physical altercations, this is a 10-year-old, 12-year-old boy. I think it's somewhere around there. And this is where Stephen Grant, who you see on the poster in the little Mark's room, he's got a movie poster. Yeah. It's basically Indiana Jones.
An Indiana Jones B-movie knockoff.
And it's Stephen Grant, and this is who he comes up with to, escape his reality.
Yeah.
Everybody agree?
Yeah. It was
wild.
Tawadet's like, hey, your hearts are out of balance. You got to get some crash course therapy. And therapy would, as a former therapist, I can tell you that, if therapy happened a lot more. There's a hippo on a boat coasting through the sands of the dead. You wouldn't need nearly as many sessions. I'd figure my shit out a lot faster that way.
Or maybe that would bring all the answers you need. It was like, oh, I just didn't know about this Egyptian afterlife. I mean, is anybody familiar here with this stuff? Is this like, we got any Egyptian history buffs?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, enough probably, shit I've learned from Moon Knight and Hawkman comics,
Oh my gosh.
And Black Adam, that's pretty big.
Oh yeah, of course.
Mummy movies, not
I thought of the Mummy.
Fraser. Not just,
National Treasure.
Okay, so no. Okay, so they get the scales balanced. This is the big push to get Steven and Mark be able to come back to their body. But something goes wrong. As the boat is... All right, so the boat actually gets Mark all the way... I'm skipping a part. Steven falls off the boat.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of exposition in between the two characters, which, 2 characters. This is the same guy.
It's the same
There's
guy.
a lot of Oscar Isaac does a lot of heavy lifting here, and
So much
shoulders it with ease.
He just looks like he's just doing his thing.
Yeah,
Like in playing all these different characters, doing this thing.
they're going through room to room. They're seeing each other's memories.
Yes.
There's a couple of questionable moments. We see like a sarcophagus with, covered in red, and they're like, "Nope, you don't need to go in there."
What do you think that was?
Oh, but we know who that is.
You already
We'll-
know.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
We'll get there.
soon. Yeah, we see what happened to Mark in the rest of his life as this trauma with his mom. Oh, he becomes basically like a mercenary.
Yeah,
He's kind of like, I don't know if he's a cold-blooded killer, but he's a killer.
he's a killer for sure.
And he's like killer for hire. And really, Steven isn't really showing up hardly at all until recently,
Yeah,
which turns out we get the full tell-all of how Moon Knight came to be. Steven was on a mission somewhere in Egypt, wanders into a pyramid, and this is where Khonshu takes full advantage of the situation, says, "You're on your last breath. If you want to live, I'll take over, but you're going to have to do my bidding."
become my fist of vengeance.
My Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Loved it.
That was nice.
And also all the while in Afterlife, they're flashing back and forth to Ethan Hawke playing like a psychiatrist businessman with he's got like a little bit of a city accent now.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like trying to help out.
It's Midwest Ned Flanders.
Yeah, it is like Ned Flanders.
Yeah, idly ho.
That's real. Yeah, he's got the mustache. He's got the
It's time for some therapy diddly.
And he's kind of, you think he's playing a game, but what do we learn about this? I mean, this is probably the finale, I guess, really, when they get into this, right? It's not till the very end. He's not even, I still didn't really fully understand like who he was in that context, like being in the afterlife, like who Ethan Harrow was to Mark Spector. Like that part was a little confusing to me because they're
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think you just come to find out this is all kind of in his head,
yeah.
and he's taken these people that he knows
Yeah.
in life and kind of put them in his brain, and it's all jumbled up, and it's, I think, on purpose, kind of ambiguous.
I mean, for sure, because you start asking questions like, what happened?
Like, what is real?
What?
You're questioning the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
is this real? Is this the real part, or is that the real part?
Well, let's get into the meat of this and talk about the finale. So Mark does come back.
Yeah. Oh well, we lose Steven.
We lose Steven
We
in
lose Steven
the sand,
in the sand,
only
and then the scales balance.
and the scout because they've done their work.
They've done their work, and the other heart is gone.
Yeah.
You're one person now.
Yeah.
So the scales have balanced, and you can return to this body. But guess what? This body has 2 holes in it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
You're
And
bleeding.
you've imprisoned Khonshu.
Yep. This is
He's trapped.
it's the only way to heal.
Yeah.
Yep. And so like the mission becomes very clear to get Khonshu. We have the hippopotamus god still around, and eventually convinces Layla
Yeah, we get some
to
flashes
be her avatar.
of, her speaking through other bodies like, "Hey,
Yeah.
why don't
that's
you
wild.
just become my avatar?"
Layla's
And
walking through
she's-
dead bodies, and they're just like
she
waking up.
ignores it a couple of times until eventually she accepts it.
She has to. Like we're
Yeah.
at the end of the road here. Mark
I don't
needs
really
help,
have a whole lot of a choice here.
and she gets a crazy awesome outfit. Does she have a superhero name? Anybody know?
Scarlet Scarab.
And she's got these silver wings. She can fly
Looks
around.
great.
Looks great.
fantastic.
Fantastic. She gets Khonshu out before all that happens. Khonshu tries to get her to be the avatar. It doesn't work.
Well, yeah, we thought like the whole time, like this is going to meet up with her, and she is going to be Khonshu's avatar, and
Yeah.
then it doesn't happen.
And he just wants one. He doesn't
Yeah,
really care who it
he
is.
doesn't really care.
He's just getting around.
Yeah.
So Moon Knight comes back. He's healed up. I mean, did he get Steven back by that point?
There's
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they get
He-
Steven back. They make a deal with
Yep.
Khonshu.
Yep.
If we take you now, you have to release us.
They're working together now.
Yeah.
They've come from the afterlife. They're no longer on the outs. Mark and Steven are like compadres now.
Yeah.
They
And
Moon
there's-
Knight, they Mr. Knight, they beat all of Harrow's guys, and
Yeah.
they end up, I mean, it's kind of like anticlimactic in terms of like them taking him down. But like what happens with Ahmet, or the guy they were trying to bring back?
Crocodile.
Yeah, the crocodile.
The crocodile. He comes back, he's giant.
Giant
You know what I thought
crocodile,
of? Lost. I was like, that's like the Lost statue,
Yeah.
but like alive,
but real.
but
yeah.
real, a big real alligator.
Yeah,
not
we had a
crocodile.
full out kaiju fight
Yeah.
in the middle of Egypt, and it was awesome. The
It was-
giant Khonshu and the giant Amit.
Yep.
And I would say the biggest difference between Moon Knight and Lost is this had a satisfying ending.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
no.
Man, I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
8 times. I think they've nailed it.
I was good with that. It was, yeah.
Oh, you think so?
I loved it.
I hated Lost.
Loved
How many
it.
times did you
How
see
it
it?
ended. I've seen like the first 2 seasons multiple times, and then 3 it starts to bog down. 4 is interesting. 5 can go fuck itself, and 6 can, take a ride with 5.
That's beautiful.
It was so awful. It was so bad, and so bad that they had to release the head man in charge epilogue thing.
Oh, those are pretty brutal.
to explain all the questions. That's my issue with J.J. Abrams. The dude can set up a story like anyone, but he can't finish worth fuck.
Yeah. I
You know,
mean,
all those mystery boxes he puts out there of like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Who's Ray's dad? Guess what? Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it does matter.
Yeah, there was a lot of things left open.
some things
So-
didn't matter. I feel like they answer a lot more than people realize. Like after watching it a lot, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this seems like they connected that again. But I hear you.
Yeah.
Fair
so
share.
season 1 and 2, some of the best TV ever.
100%.
Like we're talking about The Walking Dead, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, let's stay on Moon Knight. Here we
Yeah,
go.
sorry.
No, perfect. I love the segue. Wrapping up the story. Moon Knight conquers all. They're in a good place.
See, Khonshu seems to be okay with releasing Mark and Steven.
Yeah, he holds up his end of the deal, right?
Yeah.
Now that they're working together, he says, all right, we won. We beat this guy. You have to release us. He says, okay, so be it. You're on your own. Then what happens with those two?
Well, they realized that there was a third person.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
because they don't
Right.
show
Did I do
that
that?
till the
Did
very
They
end.
don't show that until
Well, no,
the
but they-
stinger at the end.
but
end.
didn't when they defeated Harrow and all of his men, they were like, "Did you do that?"
Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
This has been
that's
a
the big
thread
part.
That wasn't me.
through.
So that's when you were like,
That's
all
it.
right.
That's the big part because Moon Knight is essentially he's lost, and
Yeah.
they've got him down,
And then
and they
Cool.
black out,
Yeah.
and they wake up, and literally every single person's dead, including Harrow. Like that's
Yeah.
that's
Right.
why it was anticlimactic because you didn't
Because you
see
didn't
it.
get to see it. Yeah, and that's been a thread through almost every episode.
God, that's good.
where
that's
they-
cool.
They black out, and they each kind of blame the other one for the situation that they're left in.
Yeah.
And they both kind of deny that it was them. And you're like, what happened? Who is it?
And guess what?
Guess what?
You get to find out.
You do.
Flash forward. I think Steven and Mark are just kind of like living.
Yeah.
they're
they've-
together.
They've gone into their regular life.
and they're gonna double team this thing.
Yeah.
And like Steven's a person and apparently has like some kind of soul. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go down a real rabbit hole there. And then here we go.
Arthur Harrow.
Arthur Harrow in prison
Yes.
gets let out, put into a vehicle, and
He can see Khonshu
this is crazy.
because he was a former Avatar.
So is that right? So if
Yeah.
you're a former Avatar, you can see him,
Yeah.
and he's sitting. I mean, Khonshu's in a suit,
Yeah.
like a regular suit,
He did like almost like the Mr. Knight suit.
and then he says, "Did you really think I was after those two idiots?
Right.
I was after
Jake Lockley.
Jake Lockley.
Yes.
And this is the third.
This is the third absolutely violent psychopath that Moon Knight is really the person. Like, this is the guy.
This is it.
This is the...
The rest of this was just like, here's how this all works.
Right. Like, you've got the mild-mannered Steven. You've got the middleman and Mark.
Now you got to.
And now you've got the crazy Jake, who has been responsible for all of these slaughterings that they would black out during.
And he shoots.
Boom.
He's gone.
Takes
I
him
mean,
out.
presumably dead.
Yeah, for sure.
and now there's 2 fish.
Yeah, now there's 2 fish. 2 goldfish in the fishbowl.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the last scenes I think. Is
Yeah,
when
for sure. When they were in the apartment.
he's chained up in his bed and falls out, kind of like episode 1 callback. There's 2 fish now, so basically
Mark and Steven.
Khonshu, yeah,
They've
Khonshu
reconciled.
is I don't know, got the third man in.
I mean, he must have to work real hard to like get them back to the house, without them noticing.
Oh, for sure.
And then was there an end credit scene?
The
Or-
end credit scene was the Jake Lockley
That was the end credit scene.
in the limo, yeah.
Okay. I mean, they could have tacked that on the end and given you something
Yeah,
else.
for sure.
All right, Moon Knight. I don't want to mess around here because we got a big title to talk about right before we take a break. Let's do a round table and do final thoughts and ratings. We'll start with our guest today, Stephen Walden. Tell us about what you thought of Moon Knight.
Moon Knight, I agree with a lot of what Scotty said already. Well acted. The action sequences are great. My biggest issue with it is how disconnected it feels from the larger MCU. I thought it could have been easily folded in to bring someone from Wakanda. It's like you guys are in the same area-ish. It just felt so separated from it, unlike everything else that has come before on Disney Plus. And I know it was intentional, but I'm not quite sure what the payoff is, because my biggest thing why I never got fully into Moon Knight comics, I'm like, dude has an amazing costume, but his stories just don't matter to me. And that's what this series felt like to me. Great costume, but I don't know why I should care. Other than the fact that Oscar Isaac is an amazing actor, and I'd like to see him in another season.
Yep.
And I'm curious to see, the new black suit Moon Knight and all that, where, when Jake takes over. I would love, as a, an 80s comic fan, I would love to see him ultimately partner up with the West Coast Avengers somehow. But, I don't know. That's a ways away. So
Very
for
nice.
him to be a team player of anyone, he's his own team. He's got 3 people on his team right now.
A one-man team.
And how about a rating?
I'll give it probably a 3.
3, even 3.
Even 3.
Fair.
Yeah. I think, that can change over time, but it's the least consequential of all the Disney Plus series so far that has come so far. So
Fair share, my dude. Giggler.
All right, 3.1 out of 4 for me.
Whoa, okay, nice.
Just gonna throw that out there first, like I like to do.
Yep.
Oscar Isaac was the best part of the show. I mean, he crushed it. How do you play 3 characters? It's more like 2.5, but
Yeah, but nonstop.
That was just exactly. He killed it the entire time, start to finish. I like that it was like a very it was a dark show, but it was very fun to watch. Kept you very very entertained the whole time. I needed to see more Moon Knight though, especially as it being like a introduction to this character. I just wanted to see more. I agree that he has one of the coolest outfits and suits, but you barely saw it, and I really wanted to see more of it. It could have been maybe a couple more episodes to kind of fill in some more, because I had a similar experience where I was just kind of I don't know what was missing from the show for me. But I definitely think season 2 could be a banger for sure, with what I feel like it's more of a character exposition than anything. And they definitely got me hooked on that part of it for sure.
Hell yeah, man. Well said. Great rating. Sounds like it definitely made the threshold for you. Scotty Scoop, I know you were so pumped for this. How'd it go for you top to bottom?
Great. One of the reasons I really liked the show so much was because it was disconnected from everything. And I don't think it needed, I know they talked about, they had originally written in an Eternal to cameo. And I think also maybe someone from Wakanda, probably a Dora Milaje or some, one of those just random things. I could have used maybe 1 or 2 more episodes to really kind of fill it out, but I had a great time, and this is probably gonna make my second favorite of the Disney Plus shows, and I think I would give it a 3.5.
3.5 went well. I'll give it up for that.
What's your number 1 Disney show?
Hawkeye.
Yeah, we were definitely on the other spectrum, because that's my least favorite so far.
Yeah.
I
was really down with that Hawkeye. I had read the original Matt Fraction run, and it's so good.
Yeah, that's why I recruited him. I was like, all right, you really like some of these ones that I feel like they're not the mainstream, and you got the comic knowledge where you're coming in and going I'm most pumped for Hawkeye, where that's not me.
Right.
Sign me up for She-Hulk. That's the one I'm really excited
there.
about.
I'm with you.
So there.
I'm with you there too. I'm worried if it might be a little bit too much Rizzoli and Isles or something. Just where it's if it gets too
little
if it's too much procedural, I hope it stays.
No, it's going to be more like Deadpool, because that's what She-Hulk is that she's the person that sees all the bullshit that's going on in the Marvel universe. And the John Byrne run on that is absolutely hilarious, where she number of time breaks the fourth wall. And talks to the reader. It makes fun of the editor, John Byrne himself. She's actually talking with John Byrne. So I wonder if they're going to go that route. I don't know that they will, since Mark Ruffalo is going to be in some of it.
Yeah, right. That'll be an interesting way. I mean, seeing him on TV, that'll be something cool. All right, I'll round us out here before we go into the break. Moon Knight for me was a fantastic ride. It was totally threw me for a loop. I felt confused and I had to rewatch multiple episodes just to really get a feel for what was going on. But it came home for me in the end. Had a lot of fun. I agree. We should have seen at least 3 times as much of the costume, I think. But Oscar Isaac, showing up was awesome. Season 2 for this show is very much, again, like season 1. Like, what are they going to do? Because I still don't even have quite of a feel of like where it left off. It's kind of a cliffhanger in itself of like, well, where can they go with this? What type of situations does Moon Knight get in? And with all these different characters, man, you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So just for the surprises alone, I'm here for it. Things that I get excited about and think about because, I'm an addict of the multiverse and all the connected storylines is where will we see Moon Knight next? And will it be in other titles? I want to see some crossovers. We've established all these titles that are happening across 2021, 22, going to 23. And I think a lot of them have felt siloed, which is cool because I want to give things their focus, but I'm also a fan of seeing the things connect. And if this is the MCU, like, let me know a little bit. And
Yeah.
I really didn't know it at all. Like, you don't have to really be an MCU fan to appreciate this. I mean, you won't even need to. You can just come in and watch it cold, I think.
Right.
And will he be in any movies? Are we going to get some of these TV characters in movies? It's got to happen. I hope it does. Overall, I give season 1 of Moon Knight a 3.2.
Nice. I think we'll definitely see him in something else before we get a Moon Knight season 2.
You think so? You got to guess?
It's Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yes. This is the Halloween
special.
this year?
I think so.
I keep
Yeah,
forgetting
it is.
about that
For
one.
sure.
It is.
Very cool. All right, man. Moon Knight, Disney Plus, 6 episodes. There you go. Another one for the MCU library. You can get all those MCU titles, reviews, the order that you're looking for, that you want to watch it in, which is, at this point is that timeline order is what I think. Mostly superheroes.com.